This is CBC Here and Now.
Good evening and welcome to Here and Now. I'm Anthony Germain.
And I'm Carolyn Stokes.
Our top story tonight, a stunning admission. Ann Squires says she is guilty as charged. The former Exit Realty on the Rock owner has changed her pleas on 4 criminal charges.
Squires was charged with fraud, forgery, and breach of trust after her real estate company collapsed 3 years ago. Here and Now's Mark Quinn reports.
In 2016, after the provincial government suspended Exit Realty on the Rock's real estate license, Ann Squires called journalists to her office for a statement.
I had not spoken to or heard from any RNC person.
That clearly changed, and Squires was later named in a court information detailing 4 charges. Squires is accused of stealing money from Exit on the Rock, money that was supposed to be set aside in a trust fund. She's also accused of defrauding a payday loan type company called Access Easy Funds. Squires is alleged to have used forged and fake sales agreements to get advances from the company. Initially, she pleaded not guilty to all the charges, but today that changed. Speaking to a courtroom in St. John's by phone from Twillingate, Squires pleaded guilty to all 4 charges. Justice Robert Stack hasn't yet accepted those pleas, and Squires hasn't been convicted. Her lawyer, Randy Piercy, says he's very close to reaching an agreed statement of facts with the Crown. Squires' case is scheduled to return to Supreme Court in late June. Mark Quinn, CBC News, St. John's.
A progressive Conservative candidate is at the center of an ongoing legal dispute with his former father-in-law. It's a story about a new cabin, a failed marriage, and a $90,000 disagreement. Here Now's Terry Roberts has been chasing this story and joins us now with more. So Terry, tell us more about this candidate at the center of this dispute.
Yeah, well, his name is Lloyd Power, and he's the PC candidate for the St. John's district of Mount Sile. Now, in addition to campaigning for the May 16th provincial election, he's also fighting a lawsuit brought against him by his former father-in-law. That's contractor Loyola Hutchings. Now, this is what it's all about. It's a cabin on School Road in Torres Cove. Now, according to court documents, Loyola Hutchings built the cabin in the summer of 2016 on land owned by Lloyd Power. Now, Power married Hutchings' daughter that same year, but the two have since split up. Hutchings alleges his former son-in-law never paid him for the work, and he's suing Power for $94,000. Hutchings is vacationing in Florida, and I spoke with him by phone earlier today. I asked him if there was a formal contract with Lloyd Power.
No, gentlemen's agreements. I've done 90% of my work on a handshake. Well, I mean, all the documents there to support my claim, and I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I can't see a judge ruling against it, so. You know, I'm in construction lifetime, and it's the first time in my life that I've had to go take this route in order to get paid.
Now, Power is denying any wrongdoing, and in a statement of claim, he argues that Hutchings offered to provide the labor to build the cabin as a gift and supply materials at a reduced price, up to a maximum cost of $60,000. Now, Power also says Hutchings only started legal proceedings after Power's marriage to Hutchings' daughter ended in late 2017. Power would not agree to an on-camera interview today, but I did reach him by phone, and here's some of what he had to say.
This in absolutely no way impacts my role as an MHA. I've been a strong voice and advocate in my community for all my life, and that is where my focus always has been. I have every intention to be the MHA for Mount Sile, and this is not going to divert me in any way from the energy and the passion I have to be the next MHA.
Okay, so Terry, what is PC leader Ches Crosby saying about all this?
Yeah, well, we spoke to Mr. Crosby today. He was campaigning in Bonavista, and he said Power disclosed the existence of this lawsuit during the vetting process, and Crosby is standing firmly behind his candidate.
This is a question of a private dispute that does not involve the question of somebody's moral character in the sense of are they fit to stand for election or to hold office. It's simply a private dispute.
By the way, this cabin is now on the market, selling price just under $230,000. As for the lawsuit, both sides are due back in court in November. Anthony?
All right, thanks, Terry. Good to have you here in the studio. That's Here and Now's Terry Roberts. Well, PC leader Ches Crosby, in another story with the campaign, he continued his quarrel with Ottawa today, and this time the fight is about equalization. Crosby says he would hold a referendum on the topic in an effort to get this province more cash. Here and Now's Garrett Barry has that story.
We made it safe.
A return to a familiar fight.
Well, if you go back to Danny Williams and his negotiations, his tough negotiations with Prime Minister Martin.
His issue? The PCs say complex changes in 2007 make it harder for this province to benefit from the Atlantic Accord.
What I'm saying is we need to have a serious discussion with the federal government about offsetting the inclusion of our offshore resource revenues in the equalization formula.
And this time, he thinks he's got a trump card.
I want to return to that discussion with, in my hand, the weapon of a referendum on our side that forces them to talk about it.
How would that work? Crosby is relying on a 1998 Supreme Court of Canada decision, one that's about something a bit different.
A clear question with a clear majority vote in response. The federal government has the obligation to negotiate with the province where that vote happened.
That was the case law in regards to Quebec secession. Equalization is something altogether different.
It is, but it's still a constitutional right.
And he's confident he'd get the votes.
I think I have a fair sense of where Newfoundlanders and Labradorians' opinions are on the question of whether we're getting fair treatment under equalization, and I don't think we are.
Crosby also took his campaign on the road today, visiting what will be the newest town council chamber for the newest town council in Newfoundland and Labrador.
Eventually, we're going to put the council side of it over on this side.
The town of Georgesbrook Milton is just over 1 year old, and it's just getting started.
We need funds we're being the first, not the first, but we're the newest town within Newfoundland and Labrador, so we need funds to get operational.
They brought their concerns to the PC leader today on his first campaigning trip in rural Newfoundland. Garrett Barry, CBC News, Bonavista.
To the Liberals now, who are campaigning in Labrador today. First, Happy Valley Goose Bay, and now Labrador West. So in terms of geography, Liberals certainly covering a lot of ground, but with a campaign platform yet to be revealed, the Liberals can be accused of being a bit light on substance. Here now's Katie Breen is following the party. So Katie, what did the Liberals get up to today?
Well, the story today isn't about what they did do, more what they didn't do. We just touched down in Lab West. We spent most of the day in Happy Valley Goose Bay, where Ball didn't do anything on Indigenous issues, some Labradorians even taking issue with how it was he got to this part of the province. A late-night charter from Gander to Goose Bay. The Liberals had planned to go to the south coast, but impending weather meant a change of plans. Photos of the plane posted to social media had people online asking why the party didn't take the ferry and drive up the south coast, a sometimes problematic route Labradorians are all too familiar with.
I guess the easiest way for us to get into Labrador last night so we could park the bus and so that could be safe today was to go through Gander and get into Labrador here today.
Alrighty, there we go.
This morning, the launch of candidate Perry Trimper's headquarters. Lots of cake, but no constructive conversation. During the last sitting of the House, Ball said he'd be meeting with Indigenous leaders over methylmercury at Muskrat Falls, one of the main triggers for the 2016 protests. Today, he said the groups weren't able to make their schedules work in the lead up to the election, and there was no meeting planned for today.
It's important for us to get the Indigenous leaders at the table for that first meeting, and they're aware of that.
Fit in a Rotary luncheon, but no meeting with any Indigenous groups to talk about Indigenous issues. This despite the fact that Ball serves as the Labrador and Aboriginal Affairs Minister, and there have been calls for him to make it a standalone portfolio because critics say it needs undivided attention. Ball says he has no plans to make it a standalone if re-elected because he says he's on top of it.
So I meet quite regularly when I'm asked, or if I need anything, need clarification on anything, is not unusual for me to be reaching out with Indigenous leaders.
The Natsiva government says Ball didn't try and touch base this trip. I wasn't able to reach other Indigenous leaders. Now, Ball will be in Lab West tomorrow, where he'll be going on a mine tour first thing. Live in Labrador City, I'm Katie Breen for Here and Now.
Well, doctors say healthcare delivery in this province needs a new approach, and they're calling on candidates in the upcoming election to commit to change. The province's medical association says reviewing and improving the $3 billion healthcare system will benefit patients and doctors. The group is calling on party leaders to act now to sustain the system. It says virtual care improves health outcomes and should be expanded to include medical records, prescriptions, consults, and referrals. It also wants a greater effort put into physician recruitment. 65,000 people without a family doctor means many are relying on hospitals.
Many older physicians with large volumes of patients are also approaching retirement, and we are not attracting enough new physicians to replace them. That's why we are asking all party leaders for their commitment to a new provincial recruitment and retention strategy that makes retention of our memorial graduates the highest priority.
You need to have long-term vision, I think, and healthcare is no different for that. And this is why we have been advocating for a plan of review.
Lots of freezing rain today across the Avalon. Here's some pictures just outside the studio. You can see accumulation, about 10 millimeters of freezing rain is what we saw around, in and around the Avalon. But you can see as we take a look at the radar right now, most of that freezing rain has moved off. Just seeing some freezing drizzle in behind and for eastern Newfoundland as we head through the overnight tonight. Things should clear out for the most part, but those temperatures as your daytime highs were quite cool. So sitting around -1, hence why we saw all of that freezing rain towards the western portion of the island. A little bit warmer. Stephenville reaching a high near 5 degrees. Labrador was the hot spot, 5 in Lab City with plenty of sunshine today. Happy Valley Goose Bay reached a high near +3. Now, as we head through the night tonight, as I mentioned, things will clear out, but we do have another system rolling in. Out ahead of that, a number of warnings and watches in place. I'll get into all of that when I come back. Carolyn?
Thanks, Ashley. Well, the City of St. John's wants to know what you think about a controversial traffic circle. Rawlins Cross is one of the more complicated intersections in the city, and that's why Council decided to change the flow of traffic 7 months ago. Not everyone liked the idea at first, but officials would like to hear from people again now that they've had a chance to try it out.
We had lots of engagement at the beginning. Mainly negative, I might add, but it didn't take long before, when drivers got the groove of it, to get a lot of compliments and a lot of calls and emails in favor. Many of the people that oppose it were now in favor. Not saying that it's perfect, because that's what we're looking for the public for. The more engagement we get, the better, especially when it comes to the focus on pedestrian safety.
Well, staying with City Council, St. John's Mayor Danny Breen says the city has some trouble with tagging. The mayor says he's gotten a lot of calls from residents who are concerned about graffiti. He says city staff have also been busy covering up inappropriate art in public parks. Breen's now looking into the possibility of a graffiti task force. That's something the city's had in the past, but says the group will only work if groups like the RNC get on board to help tackle the tagging problem.
Well, a history-making provincial election in Prince Edward Island last night.
Welcome to a new day in Prince Edward Island.
PEI's Progressive Conservative Party wins a minority government, the first time that's happened on the island since the 1870s. And in a Canadian first, the Green Party will form the official opposition. PEI voters also rejected moving to a system of proportional representation. The Terra Golf Resort has a new owner. It's been 5 months since receivers took over the facility. Potential buyers had until early April to make a bid, and today, businessman Dennis Vardy of Clarenville said he's taking over, pending court approval of the deal. The resort employs about 60 people and brings business to B&Bs and gas stations in the area. Vardy hopes to open the hotel and golf course by June.
Well, the Newfoundland Growlers are moving on to the second round of the ECHL playoffs. The team won its playoff series against the Brampton Beast last night at Mile 1. Needed some cardiac medication, too. The Growlers needed overtime to get that win, much to the delight of the hometown crowd.
After the point, Ferguson has got it. Ferguson across to Chinese. The Growlers get set. Here comes the shot. They score! They score! The series is over! The Growlers have won it in overtime! Sam Jardine! He's done it! The Beasts are going to the golf course! Your Growlers are going to the second round!
Unbelievable. We got out to an unbelievable start in the series, and then for them to kind of push back like we knew they would in the fashion that they did, obviously. They put us on our heels a little bit, but coming home was obviously a huge boost. And yeah, I mean, I think that's the biggest thing coming home. We're comfortable, and the crowd really helped us, and we were able to capitalize on our opportunities. And it's obviously a pretty special thing with hockey coming back to Newfoundland, and we've been welcomed unbelievably by the community and the fans and really the city as a whole. So kind of be able to experience all the firsts that this organization is experiencing in my first year pro as well, it's a pretty special thing and something I'm honestly very grateful for.
The first step was getting into that playoff series and getting a win, and we want to continue to climb that mountain and build every day. But it's real exciting. I'm proud of the group because they stuck with it. Obviously down one here, going into the third, stuck with it, and then made our way back and found one again.
I heard a rumor that your wife had a baby last night. Is that correct?
Yeah.
What time was that?
2 a.m. So 2 a.m. I got home to my house at 5. I slept for an hour. Got my kids situated, and then I got back to the hospital. I slept for 2 hours the last 2 days, so had a little baby girl, so we're really happy, really blessed.
It's quite the night. Congratulations. Now the Growlers will next meet the Manchester Monarchs from New Hampshire, and that series starts Friday at Mile 1.
Consumer Affairs or Call Credit Counseling, we'll see what we can do to help you out.
The lowdown on collection agencies.
What they can and can't do in this province. That's right after Ashley's weather.
This weather update is brought to you by the Healthcare Foundation Home Lottery. Order your tickets now at hcfhomelottery.ca.
Well, before we get to our weather, which here on the Avalon has been pretty wet, freezing, miserable.
Yes, but nothing compared to what New Brunswickers are experiencing.
Yeah, that's right. Those living in flood zones are being given until 7 p.m. local time to get out of their homes. That's when parts of the Trans-Canada Highway will be closed.
If you've evacuated before, it's probably the same circumstances that would make you consider evacuating again this year.
Water levels on the St. John River in Fredericton hit their peak last night, surpassing last year's levels. And while the water began to recede today, the relief is only temporary, and that's because more rain is in the forecast, and they're expecting the flooding will only get worse for communities to the south all the way down to St. John.
Gee.
Wow. Combine that with what's happening in Quebec. I mean, it's incredible. I was going to complain about the ice you had to scrape off this morning. It seems like nothing compared to what's happening in other parts of the country in the East Coast.
Yeah. Like they said, more rain's on the way.
Right, all right.
And yeah, so it was pretty icy in St.
morning,
John's
yeah,
at
it
least.
was,
My
yeah.
goodness, lots of glitter on the trees.
Yeah, this afternoon. Most of the Avalon did see that, and you know the thing is the winds died down this afternoon, which is why we saw a lot more accumulation, and then they're going to pick up tonight. So you know, we could see some falling ice off of lines and stuff, so just definitely keep that in mind if you have any plans outside. It could get a little dangerous.
Good advice.
Yeah, for sure. But temperatures today, because we saw that freezing rain hovered around the 0-degree mark, we'll take a look at those. And then warmer towards the coast. So 5 degrees in Stephenville, and then we saw those warmer temperatures up through Labrador as well. With that sunshine, light winds jumped way above the models, sitting around 5 degrees for Labrador City, and Churchill Falls reached a high near +4. Now, the good news is we're going to see that continue. It looks like through the day tomorrow, we're going to see a little bit of relief tonight. So here's a look at what we're seeing as far as radar goes. You can see everything's starting to push offshore, and then overnight tonight we could see some freezing drizzle because we're in that northeast flow. Otherwise, a little bit of a break. That's not going to last too long though. The next system is going to move over. That's where all that rain is happening through New Brunswick. And that's going to push our way as we head through the day tomorrow. And we already have a number of warnings ahead of that. So all the warnings from this system today have ended. So these are all for tomorrow. Wind warnings for the Wreck House area. Winds will pick up between 110 and 140 kilometers per hour as we see those easterlies yet again. And then we've got special weather statements in effect. This just is for the fact that we're going to see some messy wintry weather and then snowfall warnings for Gander and Bonavista North as we head through the night tonight. Now, taking a look at what we're expecting overnight tonight, as I mentioned, things will generally end through the overnight, still looking at that potential for some freezing drizzle. Otherwise, the next system moves in the early morning hours down through the southwest. So overnight tonight, again, I mentioned those winds will pick up. We're looking at northeasterlies gusting between 40 and 60 kilometers per hour. So again, with all of that freezing rain, we could see some of that ice fall through the night tonight. 0 degrees should be the overnight low, or at least hover around there for most of the Avalon. -3 through central. That potential for a few flurries, and then Corner Brook -2, Portabac 0 degrees. And again, by morning, you'll see that wintry mix there. And then clear skies through Labrador. You're sitting under a ridge of high pressure, so generally light winds. Temperature dipping to -10 tonight for Lab City, -12 in Nain, and Cartwright sitting around -11. So here's a look at the future tracker for tomorrow. Now, most of that warm air only reaching essentially or lifting over the Burin Peninsula and the Avalon. So we're going to see a wintry mix to start. In behind that should change back over to snow and then eventually change over to rain for the Avalon through the afternoon. But before that happens, we are going to see a wintry mix. So you're looking at a couple of centimeters of snow. Here's what I'm thinking as far as those snowfall amounts go. Darkest is 15 to 25 centimeters, and then we go out from there. So Northern Peninsula going to see the least amount, likely just a trace, and that won't happen until the evening hours. Otherwise, a good 5 to 10 centimeters along the coast. As you get towards the interior, that's where the most will fall. And then for the Avalon, 5 to 10 for Avalon North, and then around the metro area, you're looking at about 2 to 5 centimeters, and that will mix in with ice pellets through the day too. So here's your temperatures for tomorrow. Easterly winds gusting upwards of about 60 kilometers per hour. Rain generally for the Avalon or rather the southern Avalon and the Burin Peninsula. And then as we head a little bit further north, Bonavista sitting around 0 degrees. Similar temperatures through Grand Falls, Windsor. Again, going to be mainly a snow or ice pellet mixture through the day. Port aux Basques 1 degree as we head towards Corner Brook, same thing, but more snow. And then, as I mentioned, for the Northern Peninsula, a nice day for the first half of it, and then we'll get into more snow. Sunshine, the story through Labrador with those temperatures pretty similar to what we're seeing today, maybe a degree cooler. So Lab City sitting around 4 and Happy Valley around 3 degrees. So that's a look at your forecast. We'll look a little bit ahead when we come back. Carolyn?
Thanks, Ashley. Well, did you know that in this province, collection agencies have a set of rules they have to follow? Well, tonight, our CBC Investigates team delves into that topic on The Lowdown, a series about consumer news you can use. Here's The Lowdown from reporter Jen White.
So you're facing some money troubles, and your debt gets sent to a collection agency. There are rules in place in Newfoundland and Labrador for how and how often they can contact you. Here's the lowdown on collection agency rules. Service NL says a collection agency can't call you until they've sent you a written notice. Collection agencies are not allowed to contact you between the hours of 10 p.m. and 8 a.m., and they can't call you a number of times, to the point where it could be considered harassment.
That's probably one of the grayest areas in the whole piece of legislation, because what is harassment? The Provincial Department of Consumer Affairs is the division, the department with the investigative power to deal with and fix these problems. That's your best hope for some sort of clarification as to whether or not you've been harassed.
Collection agencies are also not allowed to contact you where you work or to get in touch with your employer without your approval.
As consumers, we need to be careful, because as we return their phone call, we may say, call me on 7535812. Well, that just happens to be my work number. So I, in effect, have given them permission to call me work.
A collection agency also can't contact your relatives, neighbors, or friends unless it's to get your mailing address, or if the person is a co-applicant or co-signer of the debt. They also can't leave messages at telephone numbers other than your own. There are also regulations about what they're allowed to say to you. Service NL says a collection agency can suggest you find other ways to pay your debt or to combine debts into one payment, but can't force you to seek other funding. They also can't use coercive language or threaten job loss or legal action against you. The collection agency can act on the creditor's behalf, but only the creditor can take you to court, and assets can only be seized through a court order. If you feel you're being harassed by a collection agency, the first step is to speak to the supervisor. But if that doesn't work,
call Consumer Affairs or call Credit Counseling. We'll see what we can do to help you out.
Other people, Carter's a case number. He's a student with a number, with an ID. He's just a faceless student. He's very much more than that to us. And
Father's frustration.
Now, you might recall our story sometime about this young fellow. Carter Churchill has a number of problems that leave him requiring special help in school. And tonight we're going to check back with his parents to see if they are any closer to getting that help.
Well, now to an update to a story we brought you over 2 years ago about a family who feels the education system is leaving their child behind. This was Carter Churchill over 2 years ago, and this is him today, still smiling. He's grown, but his family says little else has changed when it comes to his education. Carter has cerebral palsy, and he also is deaf, but has cochlear implants that allow him to hear. His only mode of communication is American Sign Language, or ASL. Carter now has a full-time teacher trained in ASL by his side in class, something he didn't have before, but his parents say their son needs more.
We feel that children like Carter should have equal access to an equitable education as hearing children. We feel that hearing children and deaf children should have the same right to an education, and we object strongly that deaf children are being neglected in our education system currently. The School for the Deaf was closed in 2010, and after that there was numerous commitments made by the government of the time to maintain the same level of support as children would have had at the School of the Deaf, and that just is not happening. And it's really tragic because they're being deprived of their culture and their language. So we challenge that, and after a lot of discussions with a lot of different entities, we finally were forced to open up a human rights complaint because we just were not getting any traction on the issue. Well, if you're a parent of a hearing child, first of all, you are going to be guaranteed you're going to get a teacher every year. For Carter, it's very difficult to get that type of assurance. You're in this endless loop of year to year. You never know if you're going to have that again. Because there's just no guarantee, absolute assurance you're going to have it. So that's a little stressful, and it's constantly a weight that's hanging over us and other people in the same situation.
How is it determined whether or not he'll have a teacher who knows ASL full-time?
I guess it comes down to availability, and that's an issue that we have large concern about, because many of the teachers in the system right now are ex-Newfoundland School of the Deaf teachers, and they're all approaching retirement age. So we feel in future there will be a shortage of teachers, and then, you know, parents will just be told there isn't anybody, and your child will be deprived of an education.
There's 326 children who are deaf or hard of hearing that are in the school system right now, and these children are not receiving the support and services that they have a right to and that they need in order to be successful. These children were forced in a mainstream system, a mainstream school that was designed and developed for hearing children only. So right off the bat, you've got a system set up that is essentially set up to fail children who are deaf or hard of hearing. Children that are like Carter, who are using ASL and require that as their first language, are not having access to their language. They are not having access to having anyone in their classroom that can have a meaningful conversation with them, because sign language is not even approved to be learned in any of the schools. So it becomes a situation where these children are being isolated, they're being neglected, they are being, their mental health is being extremely affected, and they don't have any peers.
So frustrating when you have to fight for everything, and you have to explain the most common things like, yes, his teacher needs to know ASL because he speaks ASL. Like, you shouldn't even have to explain that one. That should be so intuitive that, yes, the teacher must speak the same language as him. Like, that's super frustrating. We obviously want more emphasis on learning his language. His second language will be English. His first language will be American Sign Language. So we want more emphasis on learning his language through a student assistant that we would prefer be a deaf person who's fluent, whose native first language is ASL.
All hearing children pick up incidental learning, because whether they're in a classroom and they're hearing conversations happen around them or they're witnessing it, Carter never is exposed to watching and witnessing two people actually interact and conversing with one another. And he's missing out on a huge opportunity there to learn what it's like to be able to actually have a structured sentence, have a structured conversation, and be able to have that communication going back and forth.
I think it's fair to say, I don't think that when you decide to become a parent, one of the things that you think about is, you know, am I going to have to open up a human rights complaint to get my child an education? Our resolve is very strong. We are prepared to take this as far as we need to take it, and if that means Supreme Court of Canada, so be it. We will take it that far, because while to other people Carter is a case number, he's a student with a number, with an ID. He's just a faceless student. He's very much more than that to us. And we will take it as far as we need to.
Welcome to a new day in Prince Edward Island.
A history-making night in PEI.
A deeper dive on that other island's election. That's ahead. Welcome back to Here and Now. Prince Edward Island has elected its first minority government in nearly 130 years. The Progressive Conservatives, led by Dennis King, won the night, and for the first time in any province in Canadian history, the Green Party is the official opposition. So let's take a look at the numbers. The PCs, they took 12 seats, the Greens won 8, and the Liberals managed to finish up with 6. But the NDP and independent candidates, well, they were wiped out. CBC's Steve Bruce is in Charlottetown with more on PEI's history-making election.
After last night's election, a lot of Islanders wondering today just what provincial politics is going to look like here on PEI. We've really entered into uncharted territory on so many levels. First of all, a minority government now, something that this province hasn't seen in more than a century, and a Green official opposition. This country has never seen a Green Party as the official opposition. And then there's the Liberals here on PEI. They've always been the government or the opposition. Now they're the third party. A number of high-profile Liberal cabinet ministers went down last night, including the outgoing Premier, Liberal leader Wade McLaughlin. So a lot of questions today about the future of the Liberal Party here and its leadership. But the bigger question that we seem to be hearing is just how is this minority government going to work? We've never seen this before. Well, PC leader, incoming Premier Dennis King, he talked a lot about the need for parties to collaborate during the election campaign. He talked about that again last night after the results came in. Have a listen.
I think Islanders want us to consult broadly with each other and with Islanders, and that's the kind of leadership that I'm going to provide. We're going to need a lot of help and a lot of assistance from all the parties, and I'm certainly prepared to work with them.
And it sounds like one of the issues the parties may end up collaborating on in the legislature is electoral reform. Islanders actually voted in a referendum last night on whether to move to a new, more proportional voting system away from first past the post. But electoral reform didn't quite get the support that it needed to make that result binding on government to move to a more proportional voting system. But Dennis King, the PC leader, incoming premier, said he voted in favor of electoral reform, as did Peter Bevan Baker, the leader of the Green Party. So you can bet this isn't the last we've heard of this issue. Steve Bruce, CBC News, Charlottetown.
The financial turbulence continues for Boeing. The giant jet maker is dealing with a rare drop in earnings. This all comes as the company's 737 MAX airliners remain grounded because of safety concerns. Boeing's stock has fallen 11% since one of the planes crashed in Ethiopia in March. For the year, the stock price remains up by about 15%. Boeing estimates it will spend $1 billion to fix the problems with its 737 aircraft.
Catholics and Protestants came together in Northern Ireland today for the funeral of Lera Mckee. She's the first journalist killed in the region in almost 20 years. Leaders from across Northern Ireland's political divide sat side by side with British Prime Minister Theresa May as hundreds celebrated the life of the 29-year-old journalist. Mckee's death shocked people across the UK and sparked united calls to end religious violence. She was shot and killed last week while covering a riot alongside police in Londonderry, also known as Derry. An IRA splinter group has claimed responsibility, saying she was not the intended target.
Mass burials are taking place in Sri Lanka after a series of deadly attacks. 359 people are confirmed dead from the Easter Sunday massacres. The CBC's Susan Ormiston is in Sri Lanka and has this report.
This is St. Sebastian's Church in Ngumbu, Sri Lanka. We can't take you inside or show you because they're doing a lot of forensic work inside there now. A suicide bomber murdered people right here on Sunday morning. There are so many funerals now, they're stacking up against each other as one procession leaves a cemetery, another arrives to bury their loved ones. The Defense Department acknowledged today that there were gaps in communication about warnings as early as the beginning of April that churches may be targeted. The Indian intelligence may have passed on information as recently as last Saturday, but that information was not well communicated, and the government is working to patch those holes now. The Prime Minister says he's going to sweep clean the top ranks of police and the Defense Department as he expresses his extreme regret and sorrow over what happened here. We're also learning a little bit more details about the 9 suicide bombers, 8 men and 1 woman, all Sri Lankans. The Defense Department saying that they were educated from middle class or upper middle class backgrounds, and some had lived or studied abroad, including one who was a student in Britain. Tomorrow, more funerals, more grief as the country is appealing for 2 things: help with intelligence to piece together what's happening here, and also prayers for its people. Susan Ormiston, CBC News, Negumbo, Sri Lanka.
Well, meantime, the Canadian government has increased its risk assessment for travel to Sri Lanka. It's telling Canadians to avoid non-essential trips to the country. The advisory says if you are already in the country, you should reconsider whether or not you really need to be there. If not, you should consider leaving while it's still safe to do so. Welcome back, everyone. So we're already looking ahead to the weather on Friday.
We are. We're already looking at the weekend. So we'll take a look right at the future tracker. Now, what's going to happen is we're going to see the snow that's going to fall through the day tomorrow continue at least through the overnight along the northeast coast. As that continues to track a little bit further, you can see it's going to stay towards the morning hours. And then we're in that northeast, we're going to get back into a northeasterly flow, so rain, drizzle, fog is possible for the Avalon. Otherwise, that will push out. We'll see a little bit of relief through the afternoon and evening hours before the next system rolls in for the weekend. This one is going to bring some warmer air with it, so that's certainly good news there. But if we take a look at the forecast, those temperatures are going to slowly start to climb back to seasonal, so between 3 and 4 degrees, but again, going to stay generally gray with that fog possible. Gander looking at flurries in the first half of the day and then eventually going to see some clearing skies. Port aux Basques 4 degrees, Marystown 7, so anything that does fall will fall as rain. And then we're looking at those temperatures above 0 up through Labrador again, so between 3 and 5 degrees along the coast. Lab City's looking at the potential for a few flurries and 3 degrees through the afternoon there. Now, looking ahead, the next system, as I mentioned, is going to be over New Brunswick. Lots of rain, or at least the Maritimes anyway, lots of rain and then snow. As this system continues to track further towards Labrador and Newfoundland, we're looking at a mix. So it's going to bring in some warmer air. Most of what will fall on Saturday will be rain for the island and then along the southeast coast of Labrador as well. But first, we're going to see some snow move through. So this system's actually going to take its time. It's not going to move too much over the through Sunday and into Monday even. That's going to move a little bit further north, but continue to bring all of that snow and mix of rain through the afternoon on Sunday as well for Labrador. Otherwise, we're going to see a little bit of relief for the island, and then the next system will move in on Monday. So it does look like it will be pretty gray over the next 4 or 5 days for most of the island. Maybe a little bit of relief, though, as far as that sun goes on Saturday. So here's a look at the forecast. Thursday, snow, or rather tomorrow, snow, ice pellets to start, change over to rain, pick up between 2 to 5 centimeters for St. John's and eastern Newfoundland, and then drizzle and fog on Friday. Saturday, again, potential to see some sunshine through the day, and then we'll see that rain move in and continue through the day on Sunday. And then Monday reaching a high near 10 degrees. So we'll finally get back to those double digits. Now for central Newfoundland, another 10 to 20 centimeters tomorrow, rain or snow on Friday. And then again, that relief on Saturday. Sunday will clear out late day, but more rain on the way for Monday. Western Newfoundland, much of the same, 5 to 10 only tomorrow, though it looks like. And then we'll see some clearing skies through Saturday. Sunday, 10 degrees, and then a little bit of a drop on Monday. Now for eastern Labrador, lovely day again tomorrow. That rain, or rather snow, will move in Friday morning. About 5 degrees should be your afternoon high, 7 by Saturday, and then rain on Sunday and Monday, and that's because that warmer air will move in. Western Labrador, same thing, 4 degrees tomorrow. And then we start to get into that messy weather for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and then a return of that sunshine on Monday. So I mentioned flooding in New Brunswick earlier. Let's go to Quebec, where Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's had a first-hand look at the flooding in Gatineau, one of the worst hit communities along the Ottawa River.
Climate change, we're going to see more and more of these extreme weather events more regularly. It means we have to think about adaptation, mitigation, and how we're going to move forward together.
Trudeau met and thanked volunteers at the evacuation center. He and his wife Sophie also helped pack sandbags. Dozens of communities in Quebec, Ontario, and New Brunswick are dealing with flooding, and the rain in Quebec has thousands on high alert. Officials say water levels in some areas are dropping, while others still haven't reached their peak. The CBC's Olivia Stevanovic has more from residents in the flood zone.
The Ottawa River is overflowing in Constance Bay, Ontario, into this yard and threatening properties such as this one. Take a look at this house. There's a wall of sandbags protecting it for now, but thousands more are needed as water levels rise.
You know, I was feeling not too bad, but now with the new predicted numbers and how much with the rain we got and how much the water's come up, and I don't have any more sandbags right now. Yeah, I'm getting a little bit nervous.
Help is coming by way of Team Rubicon. They're a group of volunteers made up of first responders and veterans who've been deployed to places such as Haiti and Florida for hurricanes and earthquakes. Now they're here in Constance Bay, Ontario, helping to coordinate the relief effort.
This is my 4th operation. I've traveled all around the world in my life and seen the lowest of low and what people do to survive, and to be able to give back to my local community and my local family, it's cathartic. It's what we love to do is to help others.
They say this is an extension of their service. Just as they have saved lives, they hope to save one property here at a time, but the battle isn't over. Team Rubicon plans to deploy resources to help as many people as they can. Olivia Stefanovic, CBC News, Constance Bay, Ontario.
Well, when you think about places that are famous for their coffee, you might think of Seattle, Vienna, maybe Rome. But how about the Arctic? Well, this next story is about a new brew that supports 2 Indigenous communities, one in Peru, where the beans are grown, and the other far away in Nunavut, where the coffee is branded and sold. Ali Chiasson has that story.
Delicious. Kapitiak is good coffee, and this is what I have, good coffee.
Having a cup of kapitiak brings a whole new meaning to connecting over coffee. It's made with beans harvested by Indigenous farmers in Peru and sold in the Canadian Arctic at Inuit-owned and operated cafes.
Isn't that a great adventure for us, eh?
I know, it's so exciting. We're in Barrie, where the beans are roasted.
Do you want to describe the process for us?
Because these are your beans.
Yes,
right.
Those ones are my beans.
The altitude is high up in the mountains. In order to get our beans, we have to go use donkeys or horses. Then we sun dry for 5 days. Wow. It has kind of hits of chocolate as well, so it's amazing flavor.
Ersi recently moved to Barrie and saw an opportunity to bring that hometown aroma with her and sell it here in Canada. At the same time, Pam was looking to fund her local heritage society in Nunavut.
We've been having good reviews at
So
home
far.
already, yeah. So.
After a grant from the government to get the business started, the Cambridge Bay elders were soon toasting to roasting.
They were just so happy, and they couldn't stop saying, kapitiak, mamakjok, good tasting coffee.
And so the name was solidified.
Yes.
Brilliant.
75% of the proceeds go to funding cultural programs in northern Indigenous communities, all the while creating jobs in Ersi's hometown. Despite being in 2 different hemispheres, they have a lot in common.
We have all lived in a traditional lifestyle, and then most recently we're colonized and are working to revitalize and maintain who we are as Indigenous peoples.
The different roasts are called igloo, kayak, inukuk.
Our elders are passing away, and we want to preserve their way of life, and the only way we can do that is through programming.
This impact in the families in my town and the opportunity that they have, it is great. And thank you for you guys. And we are involved in this together, so it's a huge project for all of us.
Ali Chiasson, CBC News, Barrie.
Well, here's your viewer picture of the day. This picture was taken in Central on the weekend.
Okay.
You can't tell where this is from. I'll get you guys to take a guess, and then we will tell you where it was taken when we come back.
Your badger. Nothing. Crickets. Okay, gorgeous picture.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the suspense.
And the suspense. We'll take a look at that photo. It was taken in Norris Arm. Norris Arm South, to be specific, actually.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, it's a beautiful sunset there. Thank you so much for sending that in, Marilyn. And if you have any viewer pictures that you'd like to send us, send them to nlphotos@cbc.ca, and we will try to get them on the show.
Yeah, keep them coming.
Yeah.
Very popular.
Love to
Okay, first week of the campaign's almost done. Tomorrow here now we'll have some political insiders taking a look at week 1.
Excellent. We'll see you then.
Good night.
Good night.